Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Howling podcast. Tonight, Jordan is off for the holiday, but Mark Wendt and I are going to join you to talk about all things Coyote Athletics. You can see we got a new tagline this week: mic'd up, nerded out, and ready for chaos. And so we're stoked to get ready to roll this week. You can find us on X or Twitter at HowlWithUs3. You can find Jordan Decker's account at JD6OP5. Mark's is at WDiamond605. And mine, Chad Berger, is at Chad Berger. That's BIRGER at Chad Berger. On Facebook, go ahead and search up the Howling Podcast. If you don't follow us on already, please like or follow that page. And on YouTube, you can find us at the Howling Podcast. Make sure to smash that subscribe button so that we can get more subscribers as we try to roll into the end of our first season of the show. Speaking of show, let's go ahead and welcome in Mark. Mark, good to have you with us. Good to be here for another episode.
Happy Easter. How you doing?
Happy Easter. Yeah, we're doing great. Ready to kind of get on with things here and talk about a little bit more Coyote Athletics and everything else that's going on and get ready for the end of the school year, go into the summer, get up and running. Mark, we had a great weekend as far as everything goes. We were able to hit that 100 follower threshold on Facebook. So all of you that are watching us on Facebook right now, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you with us. You can interact with the show as we're filming. Just go ahead and comment. If you're on YouTube, there's a live chat available. If you're on Twitter, just go ahead and reply to those. And we may feature some of those comments or fan interactions on the program during tonight's show. Any comments on that, Mark? You want people to interact with us?
Yeah, I would love people to interact with us, especially tonight where we're flying. No guests tonight, just you and I. So more interaction, the better.
Yeah, we've got a good one planned, though. Don't worry. We got lots of stuff to talk about. It's gonna be a phenomenal show. Quick disclaimer before we go too much further here. First off, we are sponsored by the Wakanda Peach Company of Burbank, South Dakota. You can follow the Wakanda Peach Company at Wakanda Peach. And there is some big news on the Wakanda Peach Company front. So, Mark, you want to wait till the news and notes to share that information?
Yeah, we better just tease it at this point.
Okay. All right. Additionally, make sure to keep in mind that any of the opinions expressed on this show are solely those of Mark and myself and Jordan, if he's able to join us, and do not reflect the opinions or beliefs of the USD or the USD Athletic Department. I used to always say, we're just a couple idiots talking on the internet. Don't believe anything we say, but we're out here to have a good time and talk some USD athletics. So that's where we're at. Additionally, we did this past week have some Coyote Athletics events happening. The men's golf, and we'll go into a lot of these in a lot more detail later on, but men's golf finished 13th at the Boilermaker Invitational. Mark, do you have any idea where the Boilermaker Invitational was?
I would assume it's somewhere near Purdue University. I would.
Ding, ding, ding. West Lafayette. Yes. Excellent. Good job.
Never played golf there, though.
Yeah, women's golf wrapped up day one at the Summit League Championships, and we actually have an update since we made our slides here. They're tied for 6th at the Summit League Championships, and of course, they're at the famous Summit League location of
Mesa, Arizona. Summit League stronghold down there.
Yeah. However that works out down in Mesa, Arizona. So the Yotes got a little bit of work to do here on days 2 and 3. As far as women's golf does go, Ella Greenberg has been named honorable mention All Summit League performer. So congratulations to Ella on that one. Good job. Track and field participated in California. Results, we'll go through some of the results here later in the show. Softball dropped 3 to Omaha. Omaha is just kind of a machine, so we'll break those down in a little more detail later on as well. And USD hosted Augustana in volleyball on Tuesday night. We were there.
You were there.
And so we'll talk about some of our reactions to the volleyball matchup on Tuesday night, but it was a big victory, beating Augustana The ones that we won pretty handily. The ones that we lost were really tight ones. And so you can see the scores on the screen, but it was 25-17, 23-25, 25-16, 20-25, and 15-9, if I'm reading those correctly. So lots of good stuff there. Any comments on that, Mark?
No, it was fun to be at a sporting event. It's been a minute. So good to see the volleyballers.
Yeah. Well, we have had a spectacular time on this show. And since we don't have a guest with us tonight, Mark put together a little bit of a highlight video. And this kind of give us a little time frame for this video, Mark.
Yeah, so the goal was to put a highlight video for each and every show and put that together and put that out there. But we haven't got there yet. And this is a rough draft of what I kind of want to do. And this will take us through episode 19, 1 through 19 here. So kind of a fun Chad, I don't know how to get that back up there.
That's fine. I'll go ahead and do that. We'll put this up here, and Mark, you go ahead and press play when you're ready, and we'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, so give it a listen. I would drown in this fun, unfortunately.
You can't do power. You have to actually swim. Okay.
Oh, we lost the audio, Mark. Well, we'll get this fixed.
Tiny thing in your
There
brain.
we go.
It is called the amygdala. Are any of you brain scientists? Do you know what the amygdala controls in your brain? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
That's soccer analysis there.
It's Jordan. You're still chugging a beverage in that one, Jordan? Gee whiz. You learn from that. Fail forward kind of a thing. Like said that it's also apparently hobo day somewhere else. Whatever that means.
I was walking into Hy-Vee in Vermilion, and he was literally right in front of me. And I thought, Mark, be brave and ask Chris for a picture in front of the produce aisle at Hy-Vee. And I was too scared to do it. And so finally on Saturday, I finally got my picture with Chris Nielsen. And so that's the photo we're looking at there. Two young gentlemen, Chris and myself.
Well, look at who they play. It's like we. Suck it, Ryan. Need a driver, but do not drink and drive.
My high chart of the week goes to the people who leave the game, football games, I'm talking, at halftime and forget to come back.
Coach Peterson, the men's basketball coach from USD, is with us tonight. Welcome, Coach.
No place I'd rather be on a Sunday evening than chopping up with you guys. The Summit League tournament is better than the Pac-12 tournament, and dissect it and see what's accurate and see how far everyone's off. It's your homework assignment. And that's why I really want to cut down the nets and get to the NCAA tournament because I love this place so much. It's late at night, and now you guys got to go to bed after we get all fired up.
I feel like Bill Murray in Space Jam. Like, I feel like just putting on a jersey and just,
Oh, no, I gotta throw this out here. That's the other form of GATA, G-A-T-A. Got a torn Achilles. Right? We don't want that to happen.
And one of the things that I thought was really interesting about the psychology of a rivalry is that it turns out having a rival is really good for us.
On a regular basis. I will say an outlier has a Z-score of greater than +3 or less than -3 on that
Thank you
filter.
for that. Well, it would be epic. It would be epic. But
If we have a listener that can make it happen, we should make it happen. Wink, wink, if we have a listener that can make it happen.
And perhaps, I know there's no moral victories. People hate that, right? No moral victories.
I'm just imagining the type of discussions that happen at your house.
I mean, it's probably a delight to live with me. Can you just imagine?
This one a little bit.
Well, so Chad doesn't believe in jinxes, but I totally jinxed the soccer team. So apologies to the soccer team.
We're live on YouTube right now, obviously, right? And now, Dr. O did send a DM to us here on Saturday. This is the Oral Roberts coach. Mark, what was his name again?
I mean, I have a weird nose anyway, but that picture, if you zoom in on that, my nose looks really weird.
Does that work?
Creepy. Next one costs you.
Yep. And Larry Bird was at Indiana State Sycamore, not on the football team, but that was his alma mater.
Chart of the week goes to People Magazine. They were awarding their sexiest podcasters of the year. and they gave it to the Kelsey brothers. You know, if you'll change the view to all three of us, like, come on. Like,
yes, we will be getting together this weekend for the Nebraska game.
For sure.
Be sure to tell us where.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, keep us in the loop. We'll be happy to meet up with you guys.
So, yeah.
I've tried to get the name of that restaurant changed to Red Rock, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Full time that the only people that actually watch this show are our moms.
And I can guarantee you my mom is not watching or listening.
Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. I don't know what they say.
Oh, right to me. Okay.
3 Coyote victories. The one on Monday night, I think, just got over at about 3 a.m. on Tuesday. There were about 842 fouls called in that one.
I know we were picked last in the league, but come on now. Last week, winner, no return shopping carts, got 50% of the vote, and absolutely no one thought we deserved the sexiest podcasters in America.
Week goes to me for literally looking at Carter Bell's picture and reading off the stats and calling him Travis Tice. There's no explanation.
Special guest. Sorry, yeah, I figured one of them was going to intrude in the broadcast at some point, whether it was my 5-year-old, my 3-month-old, or one of the 2 dogs. So here they are.
So
yeah, you know, you do what you can do. Anytime a little Yorkie jumps in on a broadcast, you know that ratings are going to go up. So
Mark has the night off again.
all right, let's bring him in. John Thayer is with us tonight. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Look,
So when you travel with the team, like your eating schedule is completely a disaster. Itching, right? I'm like, come on, can this bus go any faster? So I'll tell you something about how nerdy I am. I have this app on my phone because I want to know one time how fast my golf cart went. The more that they're out there, and you know, we talk about all these podcasts, the more we have people talking about USD athletics, the more people are engaged and interested in. And it's all fun momentum right now. I love it. Or pumpkin pie. I'm not a pumpkin pie person.
Coyote Nation, I love you. You're great. We're getting better.
the fans kept asking me every time I went out in public, people would say, "Hey, where's the high chart guy? What's going on with that?" Yeah, shout out if you're looking for if you're maybe running an eye clinic or maybe retiring from an eye clinic business and looking to maybe sponsor the show. I noticed he was on the program, and so every time he would score, I started holding it up, and you guys were like, "What are you doing?" And I tried watching one of their games earlier this year just to see if he was still on there, but he did get after some Yote fans in the SCSC last year after that game.
He made the list.
Absolute blast. This is something that I know our family had a great time at, and such a cool view. Obviously, from a football fan perspective, like getting to be right at the 50, but just appreciate the generosity of President Gestring, and just had a blast. It was a really cool opportunity. I tell you what, I was stressing the hell out of those wings that third, like the middle of the third quarter. I lost count, Chad. I don't even want to guess. All I know is I need to hit the gym tomorrow.
Not a luck guy. I don't believe in luck or any of that stuff. I don't know who's controlling the AC, but it was a little cool in there. 71. Usually it's 72 in the dome for these games.
I thought Travis Tice had the ball, and I was watching him, and he ran literally into the back of an offensive lineman. And I was like, "What are you doing?"
That's my critique, Jordan. And if you're gonna go ahead and go after me on Twitter, I'm fine with that. I'll stand behind that.
Oh, it's us. Give me 5 seconds here, and I'll find it.
Oh, sorry, I took a nap there for a minute, Jordan. That was a really long one.
And Chad at Chad Burger. That's Burger, BIRGER.
Shirts for the blackout. And Jordan, me, and Mark are all chugging our beverages. The facilities staff at USD did crank the temperature in the dome down 1 more degree this week. Yeah, so if you're a volleyball player or coach and you want to join us, reach out.
I mean, that game on Tuesday, it was celebrities galore, man. Like, I kind of felt like we were at the NBA Finals or something. We were stopping people were stopping us. We got to get an agent.
Like a graphic of Jay Elson, like making weird faces at the opponents while they're shooting free throws. And so when they don't put it up there, I started yelling Jay Elson. I had short names that were easy to remember. And how many letters does Todd have, Mark?
You don't have time to take a break and go take care of some important business.
Any, Tom Jones references?
Not so much anymore, but man, years ago it was brutal.
Happy New Year.
I think it's too late to say that, according to Larry David.
That's who died and made him king. Hashtag iChart. I'm going to start being an old man and keeping track myself through this game.
Get off my lawn.
She was very impressed with how loudly we yelled during the opponent's free throws. I'm on my A game today here, guys.
Any trivia?
You can remember that, but you can't remember a box score, Mark. What the hell? Well, that's fair. All right, I'll figure out another freaking nickname.
So does anyone have more fun, doing podcasts than we do, Mark?
Yeah, I was just wondering while that was playing, like if people are tuning in the middle of that, they're probably wondering what in the wide world of sports is going on. But yeah, that was a fun trip down memory lane.
A few of our highlights from the first, 19 episodes?
1 through 19, yep.
1 through 19. So we still have 20 through 31 to make a few highlights from, and we're planning on doing 2 more episodes this season. That's kind of the plan for now. So we'll wrap up with episode 33 on Sunday night, May the 4th. So make sure everyone tunes in. We've got a great guest lined up for that one. We're still hoping to have someone from USD Volleyball join us. So if anyone out there from volleyball is listening, we'd love to have you on the show.
Yes.
That was actually featured in the program there, but good times were had by all. It was spectacular, spectacular season so far. And, we're happy that we started doing this thing back in August and looking forward to season 2 coming up again in August. Before I get nostalgic and whatever else we'll go ahead and move on with the rest of our program here. How's that sound, Mark?
Let's do it.
Okay. So news and notes.
News and notes. One of our fine listeners DM'd me and told me that I had made a mistake in last week's news and notes, and that was women's basketball signee Josie Hill, the South Dakota native, is transferring in from Chicago State, even though Chicago is not a state at all. I said she was from Colorado State. So my bad on that. But we do certainly welcome Josie to Vermilion. Other things I wrote down here, the transfer portal taketh. I think if we're active on social media, especially on Twitter, a lot of football players leaving. But the transfer portal also giveth. And we filled in a couple spots that we're missing, and I expect we'll fill in more here in the days and weeks to come. And as we mentioned in the beginning, big news for the Wakanda Peach Company. The tree has officially made its trek from Wakanda to the ground in my front yard here in Burbank, South Dakota. So welcome home, Peach Tree.
Excellent. I saw the Wakanda Peach Company also tweeted out that there was a sprout maybe on one of the branches there.
Yeah. Gotta. The guy I hired to do it, he said he was going to prune it, and I was like, fine, but he pruned it quite heavily, more than I would have. So I was a little worried that we were just hauling a dead piece of wood, but it looks like some leaves are sprouting there, so we're hopeful.
If you're interested in following along, make sure to do so at Wakanda Peach on Twitter, at Wakanda Peach. Some people also call it X, but the OGs call it Twitter. So
it's still Twitter to me.
Yeah, it's still Twitter to me as well. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? The transfer portal stuff, Mark. I don't want to sit here and break down who's leaving and who's not. I think on a previous episode, we said something like, hey, congrats to all those guys, all those individuals that are getting better offers, other places. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck. Thanks for everything that you did while you were at USD. But those that are sticking around here, we're excited for what's coming up with the Yotes, and those are interested in transferring in. Let's go. Let's roll. You're coming to a great place, and this is where it's happening. So very excited for the future of USD Coyote Athletics.
Yeah, I know for fans it can get frustrating, especially when you think we're going to have X, Y, and Z playing positions X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden halfway through spring practice, they're gone. So I get that part of it, but like you say, it's life-changing money for a lot of these kids, and certainly don't blame them. The toothpaste is not going back in the tube as far as NIL and transfer portal stuff. So we're going to just have to learn to make the best that we can with it. And I know we got, when we had Coach Johansson on, I certainly trust that guy to find some dudes to fill those jerseys and keep the train going down the tracks here.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit more about volleyball before we get into some of the other results. We were at volleyball on Tuesday night. First off, it was a fun crowd. As far as, crowds for off-season events go, I'd say there was probably 250 or more people there. Does that sound about accurate?
Yep.
So decent crowd there for an off-season event. And for those of you that are watching online, if you want to, join in, comment, go ahead and do so in the chat. You can comment on Facebook. You can reply to this tweet on the X machine. But as far as things went, first set, Yotes came out and looked really, really good. Couple players that really impressed me. First off, Lauren Medic is a machine out there. When she hit the ball, it sounded different. I don't know if you and I kind of talked about that on Tuesday night.
Yes. She's going to be super exciting to watch again this year. Like it's a different level. Like you say, it sounds different, and the speed is definitely different than a lot of them. So I would not want to get in front of one of those at all.
There were a few that were hit pretty hard, and it sounded like it was shot out of a cannon. I mean, it was very loud. Avery Van Hook, when she's in the game, it's a different thing. Sets 1, 3, and 5, she was in there. She's just got that experience, and is a little bit different of a game changer for the Yotes. And so Avery did a great job. As far as middles go, and even right side, lots of great things going on out there. Amanda Lotion played really well, I thought. Morgan Bodie played really well. There were some flashes from several other players out there. I think Samantha Laird.
Carly Reese played well.
Yep, Carly Reese. Yeah, so lots of great things going on Tuesday night. But there were also times where this off-season volleyball stuff, man, there were no officials out there. There were no line judges. And a couple times I thought maybe some of the coaching staff was going to throw down a little bit. It was getting pretty intense there for a little bit.
I don't know if it was the fourth or fifth set, like some of the players were questioning whether or not they were being truthful about what happened. So yeah, it got a little tense in there for a minute or two.
Yeah. And I play rec league volleyball all year long, and so that's pretty normal for me. But to see it on a college court, it was a little bit different. So very interesting.
And I would say
oh, go ahead. I was going to say. Oh, you go.
That'll make a clip. I was just going to say, the view we had. We sat in our normal seats, 106, row 2, but there was no scores table, and that really cleared out the view quite a bit. So I don't know if we can get the scores table up on the upper concourse or something like that. That was really nice. Jaron Duffy, if you're listening,
well,
make that happen.
Yeah, if only we had the AD maybe coming on here for a guest soon. I don't know. We'll see what we can do. One other thing that I was going to mention from the volleyball match the other night, it was a great atmosphere. If you're able to get out and support the Yotes, even in these off-season things, get out and do it. It's just spectacular. I think everyone enjoys having us there. But great job by Coach Michael Rundy, of kind of keeping everything calm there at the end and just saying, hey, let's just redo the points and, avoiding some conflict and doing a good job there. We did have an interesting thing. We said, what if your volleyball staff had 3 coaches on there, and when you lost a set, one of your coaches had to go back to the locker room? Survivor volleyball. What are we coming up with new stuff here?
I mean, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, let's go. Let's make this happen next spring. So Coach Coach Leanne Williamson, if you're listening, Survivor Volleyball. It's gonna catch on.
Sounds like a thing to me.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about some of the other sports that were in season. And so we mentioned the Boilermaker Invitational that took place in West Lafayette out there at Purdue. The Yotes finished in 13th place at plus 16, but I really wanted to highlight the number 2 men's golfer here, Joe Rollwing, just shot spectacular all 3 rounds over the weekend. He finished tied for 7th place overall at -4. He shot a 69.
Nice.
71 and 69.
Nice.
So lots of great golf. If I shot those 3 rounds, I'd probably just call it a career at that point. There's
correct.
Yeah, Joe, if you retire after this, we completely understand. But great job, Joe. You can see some of the other individual scores on the screen as well if you're watching. If you're listening, sorry, I'm not going to read through everything. But if you want those results, where can we get them, Mark?
GoYotes.com.
All right. Additionally, softball. We mentioned played at Omaha. We had Coach Piv on last week to talk about a little bit, and Omaha is just a machine at this point. Not a whole lot else you can say. This was the first game on Friday afternoon, and the Yotes ended up on the wrong end of the score here, 9-1.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we kept it tight early on or within reach, and then it's just like you say, Omaha is really, really good at a lot of spots, and they pulled away there in the 6th and actually run ruled us or whatever they call that. We didn't play a 7th inning just due to the score. So, but the next 2 games were much more competitive, and we had our chances, as we'll see here in a second.
Yeah. What did you mention about the pitcher on this one?
Yeah. So, one of the top, they have 2 of the top pitchers, not only in the Summit League, but in the country. I know, I'm not sure about this lady here, but she's near the top in a lot of categories nationwide, not just Summit League wide. And I know the girl that pitched the 3rd game is also nationally ranked 1 or 2 in a lot of categories as well. So we were facing some really, really good competition.
Really, facing like Maddox and Glavin and the old school Braves teams back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're a baseball fan, you get that reference. If you're not, I really don't care. It was a good reference.
It was.
So game 2 against Omaha. This one actually ended up 6-5. In this case, it was a much tighter game. South Dakota jumped off to a 2-0 lead in the 1st inning, and then at the end of the 2nd had a 4-3 lead. But then Omaha kind of chipped away, tied it up in the 3rd. The Yotes were able to put another run up in the 5th, but then Omaha put 2 in the bottom of the 6th to get that 6-5 lead.
Yeah, the bottom of the 6th was the story of the game there. Obviously, we went into that inning or half inning up a run. They got a single, and then we had a fielding error, so she advanced to 2nd. Then there was a sacrifice bunt. We got another out, and then a run scored on a wild pitch. And then there was a sac fly, which was an unearned run, obviously, because of the air. And then they got another one on a pass ball as well. So it's kind of some self-inflicted damage there in the bottom of the 6th. And unfortunately, we couldn't get that run. We started out the top of the 7th. No, that's the next game. I'm getting them confused. So we went top of the 6th, strikeout. Then we got a runner on an air, advanced to 2nd on a wild pitch. So we had the tying run at 2nd with 2 outs, and unfortunately could not bring her home. So dropped that one. Tight game.
Yep. So a tough Friday, 2 losses against Omaha, and then Saturday rolls around, get a fresh chance at Omaha, and in this one, it ended up turning out 2-1.
Yeah, definitely a pitcher's duel here. Omaha scored 2 in the bottom of the 1st, and then that was it for them. So shout out to Claire Edwards, who started the game and held them at bay. obviously we're down 2-0 going in the top of the 7th. Had a leadoff triple. Got that run home on a double. So the tying run is at second. And unfortunately, as we've talked about a few times over the course of the year, we just weren't able to get that one extra hit to be able to extend the game and extend the game at best, and if not win it. So hopefully Coach Piv doesn't take that personally. And after we had her on last week, Chad doesn't believe in jinxes, so I hope she'll come back.
Yep. And Coach Piv was a great guest. We'll actually show a replay of that show coming up here in the next few weeks. Just fantastic guest, and fortunately for the Yotes, do have another home opportunity coming up here on May 2nd, which, as we all learned last week, is not May 5th or not Cinco de Mayo. But Jordan's going to extend the weekend out and turn it into a celebration. So
we're all going to be there.
Yep. Hopefully we get the whole crew together for that one. So it's planning to be a good one for that. Additionally, if we look at the standings here, you can see that Omaha is far and away the best team in the conference. They're up there at 12-3. St. Thomas, South Dakota State are 9-3. Then then it's kind of like everyone else is kind of jumbled in this spot. North Dakota is 7-8 right now. South Dakota is 4-8. North Dakota State's 3-9, and Kansas City's 1-11. South Dakota has 2 opponents, 2 series left on the season, and they're against North Dakota State and Kansas City. So South Dakota is hoping to hopefully move up and be right in line with North Dakota there, trying to 4 seed in the tournament.
Yeah, chance to build some momentum, certainly. Some winnable games, you would think, just based on the standings here. Hopefully you can get 4 or 5, if not 6 wins to going into the conference tournament would be ideal for them, I think, just from a confidence standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly capable.
Yep. And the series against Kansas City, we said, I think that will be at home May 2nd.
Right.
So make sure to get out. We're going to get rowdy. We're going to be kind of loud and obnoxious. And if you watched our highlight video, we do that during all sports. So it's not anything different than what we normally do.
Right.
So, yep, get out and join us. Have a good time. Any final comments here on softball, Mark?
No, I think you kind of wish we could have snuck 1 or 2 out there. We were certainly in those last 2 games, but like I mentioned, chance to build some momentum yet here with North Dakota State and Kansas City.
All right. Well, let's jump in then and go over some track and field results. The track and field team was out in California this past week, and Lydia Knapp, phenomenal. We mentioned her on the show last week for, I think it was the hammer throw last week. This week it's the discus. Broke her own school record in the discus, threw it 180 feet. Mark, did you ever throw discus in high school?
No, I did not. No.
Yeah, that's about like 8, I don't know, a lot further than I threw the discus in high school. That's really far. So Lydia knows what she's doing there.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Yeah. Ranks number 1 in the Summit League and 25th in Division 1. So great job. Congratulations, Lydia, on breaking your school record again. Excellent.
And like it's such an even number right there. I would hate for her to throw another inch longer.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Yeah. Well, she'll just have to go up to another 10 feet higher than that then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or 20 feet. Yeah, 200 would be a good number. I don't know. So in addition to Lydia throwing that, she ended up at 3rd place at the Beach Invitational. Where was the Beach Invitational? It was actually in Long Beach, California.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they were at 2 or 3 places in California, which makes it tricky to figure out where they were.
They were. Thankfully for us, GoYotes.com did a good job of summarizing everything, so we were able to pull some of these results off of there. But Bo Karst, who is a freshman from Harrisburg, finished with a personal best in the pole vault, 16 feet, 8.5 inches. Congratulations to Bo. That was good for 7th place at that Beach Invitational. Mason Sindelaire finished 4th in the 800 meters at 149.6. So, Mark, you said you didn't throw the discus in high school. Did you run the 800 meters?
I did run the 800 meters. I did not run it in the minute 49. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. That's a spectacular time, which actually was 4th at the meet, but it was 3rd all time at USD. So congratulations to Mason on that one. Caleb Rivera also ran a 151.6, which was good for 10th place at the meet. And it would have been a top 10 time all time at USD if Mason wouldn't have got that spectacular time. So I think it's number 11, just outside the top 10, we'll say, all time at USD. If our facts aren't correct, that's okay. Don't add us. We don't really care. We make most of this stuff up. No, we don't actually. We get it from goyotes.com, but
we make up stuff later in the show.
Yeah. Michael Grace, a junior from I believe Custer, South Dakota, finished 2nd in the 110 meter hurdles at the Beach Invitational with a 14 flat time. So that's a great effort there. And then Sophie Amin got 14.31 in the 100 meter hurdles at the Beach Invitational, and Reese Snow finished with an 11.24 in the men's 100 meters at the Beach Invitational. So some pretty impressive marks at the Beach Invitational in Long Beach, California on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, however many days it was. Great job to all the athletes there. Sarah, I believe it's Reifenrath. Just add us, please. Tell us how to pronounce your name. One of the things I love with the tennis team is they have pronunciation guides. I think the swimming and diving does this too. They have pronunciation guides on goyotes.com, so you can actually play it and listen to the athletes say their name. If track and field wanted to do that, that would be awesome too. Or any of the other sports. But Sarah was able to get 13th in the elite division at the Mount Sac relays in the 400 meters, a time of 53.49, which is the top time in the Summit League this season. So excellent job, Sarah. Elite. And then finally, Avery Schmeichel did some Avery Schmeichel things and finished the 100 meter hurdles in a time of 14.09 at that Mount Sac relays. Not Mr. Sac, Mount Sac. So a typo on my part there. Yeah. So if you want all the results from what happened, we don't have the time or energy to be able to read all of those tonight. You can follow along on goyotes.com. We'll I'm sure you guys are out there all the time anyways. Go check out the full results there, see how all the athletes are doing. It's kind of fun to see where they're from, and then you can be like, oh yeah, I think I remember that name, and follow along with what's happening. But go to goyotes.com for any of that information. Mark, any other track and field information you want to go over? We good with that one?
Yeah, pretty good. Congrats to all of them. Great job.
I think we've got some stuff coming up here for the Yotes, but we'll go through that in a little bit. Actually, that's what's up next. Coming up this week, women's golf wraps up the Summit League tournament. Once again, that's at the famous Summit League location of
kind of the capital of the Summit League, Mesa, Arizona.
Yep.
Known.
So they'll wrap up on Monday and Tuesday. The Yotes are currently tied for 6th in that one. So lots of room for improvement for the Yotes on that one. The track and field is at the Drake Relays. Now, Mark, we've already discussed, I'm more of a Kendrick Lamar fan, but this isn't referring to the rapper Drake. What are the Drake Relays?
Yeah, so I'm not necessarily a track and field guy, but I think almost everyone's heard of the Drake Relays. They're kind of famous, especially in the Midwest here. So kind of a big deal to get a top 3 finish in any of the events. Kind of something people treasure for the rest of their lives if they can pull something off at the Drake Relays. So be an exciting 3 days for the Yotes up there.
Thursday, Friday. Yep, Thursday, Friday, Saturday down in Iowa. So lots of good stuff to expect there. And then softball plays 3 games versus NDSU. We discussed that earlier. Doubleheader on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. We'll have the full results on next week's show. Make sure to tune in. But if you're able to, I believe those will be broadcast on the Summit League Network. So you can tune in if you got that. watch, follow along, cheer on the Yotes if you're not able to make it up to Fargo to watch the games.
Yeah, time to get hot.
Yep. All right. Any final comments here about the week that was or what's coming up this week, Mark?
No, I'm like I say, softball's got to get hot here. It would be really nice to get 4, 5, 6 wins this next 2 weeks. And now see the Drake relays are the Drake relays. I'm sure a lot of people will have eyes on that as well.
And I think, you know, we mentioned last week, but I think there's some soccer stuff coming up. Pay attention to the social media aspect on that. We did highlight that on last week's show, some of those dates and times. So just follow just if you're on X or Facebook, type in South Dakota soccer and you can follow along with what's going on there. Volleyball wrapped up its non-con season. It's non-competitive season here, off season, pre-season, whatever you want to call it. So none of that going on. Spring football wrapped up. So we're kind of at that point in the season where there's a lot of stuff kind of winding down. And so make sure you get out there and support the things that you can, because next fall is kind of a long ways away.
Right. And just to add on to your soccer point there, GoYotes.com is not the place to go for figuring out when soccer's playing. I do believe they have one home match left. Just check their socials at USD Coyotes Soccer to figure out when that is.
All right. Well, and now
and that's just what they wanted to do there. And all things considered, again, as you see the iChart cardboard cutout, how appropriate.
Through the review, the iChart made its way to the video board. It really injected some energy.
our own Mark Wendt is famous for holding up his eye chart at USD Coyote Athletic events when officials on the court make questionable calls. We go ahead and go through some of our questionable calls from the past week on this show every week, and whether those questionable calls happen in life or on the field. And we kind of talk about those, and then all of you are able to vote on those. So we do have last week's results of the eye chart of the week, and Mark, the winner is?
I believe it was Chad's nominee, South Dakota State, playing a spring game in a place where it's not even real football. Wins with half the vote. I came in second, even though I nominated 2 people to try to sneak out a victory. And the Tennessee quarterback, Jordan's nominee, came in third. So congrats to you, Chad. Well deserved.
Well, thank you. I'm questioning what 50% of 20,765 is, though. Was there a half vote, 2.5 votes in there?
Yeah. You just
weird how the math. Yeah,
rounding here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Weird how the math works out on this one. Well, so I'll go first then with my eye chart of the week moment. To start off with, this week I had several nominees for my eye chart of the week, but my eye chart goes to the college football campus tour Twitter account. A gentleman that does a great job of going around the country, highlighting different venues, different locations for college football. Really hits up a lot of smaller venues, Division I, football championship subdivision venues. He was actually at one of our games at the Dakota Dome this past season, and for that one, if you go back and watch, did receive my iChart nominee for that one. But in this one, he gets the iChart nominee because he decided to put out some Twitter polls over the weekend to do like a bracket for the best venues in Division I FCS football. And initially had left off the Dakota Dome and then snuck it in there, kind of slid it in there as a number 15 seed. Thanks to all of you, the fans out there voting, the Dakota Dome has actually won its first 2 matchups, defeating the number 2 seed, which was obviously misseeded, and then knocking off the next challenger. So we're into the Sweet 16. So as far as college football campus tour goes, you get the eye chart of the week.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice to put us down that far, especially when I've never been to the Idaho football stadium, but it looks very, very, very similar to the Dakota Dome, and I believe Idaho's a 3 seed. So I don't get how he came up with that, but nonetheless, worthy nominee. For my eye chart, I'm going to go with the University of Colorado football team, I guess, or powers that be that run that. They've announced this past week that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter will get their jerseys retired at the University of Colorado. Both phenomenal football players. I'm not arguing that at all. I would wonder how many bowl games they won, how many games each season they won. I don't think those are necessarily impressive numbers, especially for the University of Colorado. There is a guy whose jersey is not retired, who led them to 2 top 10 finishes in the nation, has one of the most iconic plays in college football history with the Hail Mary. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I believe that was against Michigan.
That is correct.
Many years ago now, and his name is Cordell Stewart. His jersey is not retired at the University of Colorado. I kind of feel like, based on who the head coach there is, kind of pulling strings here and getting these guys' jerseys retired. But I just feel like that deserves a second look, and for that, I'm going to give them my eye chart of the week.
All right. Well, I haven't seen any comments from any fans out there. If you want to comment, you can. I did just check it out on the Facebook page, and it does work. So if someone comments on the Facebook post, we can literally see that and add that to the show, which is spectacular. Or if you do the live chat on YouTube, we can do it there as well. So if you have nominees for iChart for next week, go ahead and tune those in, queue them up and get ready, and we'll be good to go. But, I think we had a pretty good show tonight without Jordan. What'd you think?
Yeah, we made it through it.
We made it through. No Jordan, no guest. We still were able to fill almost an hour worth of time. So we'll do the best we can. Until next time, for Jordan Wendt, who's unable to join us tonight, or Jordan Decker, who's unable to join us tonight, for Mark Wendt, I'm Chad Berger. Until next time, go Yotes.
Go Yotes.